They really are not happy to let straight men just be straight men, to the point where they are now going into spaces and publications specifically dedicated to...
Won't someone think of the straights? I mean, it's been so very long that straight people have been ignored by society, marginalized, oppressed.
Straight men, and then like injecting gayness. And it's kind of ironic, or should I say hypocritical, because you
just can't hold the mask on anymore. Like, gay bad, okay? It's, oh God, you're too cute, Chico. What the fuck? The hell? I can't compete with this. I have to make this small. You're ruining my stream, Chico. You're too adorable. There we go. That's easier. See, I can manage that. Everyone's gonna be like, is that a cute little furry egg in the corner? Be like, no, that's actually a croissant. It's a small little croissant. Yes, we're moving on from one Lauren to the other Lauren, and this today we're gonna be doing Lauren Chen. But this topic is interesting. Okay. Now, ideally, if you're watching this, you're 18 plus. If not, avert your gaze, turn away, and go find something else to watch and entertain yourselves with. This is an 18 plus stream, okay? I'm not saying that because I'm about to start gambling or anything. I'm saying that because we're going to be talking about some issues that concern adults, specifically the sex, and we're going to talk about Playboy. Yes, that's right. Now, a lot of the Zoomers probably don't know what Playboy is. Probably a little curious. Probably like, what is that? Is that what Dad uses to masturbate? It's like, yeah, perhaps that may have been back in the day. You know, they were magazines. I am a millennial, so I happen to be part of that generation where we got them early 56K modems. So my pornos would come in like this. And then you'd be like, oh shit, is that a titty? It's kind of average. It's not a great one. Okay, let's get the next one. That was the process, but the Playboys were just magazines with naked ladies in them. Not a lot of naked ladies though. There's just like, it's, to be honest, they really shouldn't be called like, you know, nudie mags or whatever they used to call them, because at the end of the day, they was mostly just articles for gentlemen, how to set up your speakers, you know, how to have a fine martini with a group of friends and well-wishers and stuff of that nature. And then there'd be like a little nudity. It was never hardcore though. It was very softcore, airbrushed. Everything was kind of like in a weird fantasy kind of stuff. I mean that like a fantasy film.
Hey, Lauren here. Let's
Prince
talk
Samus
about
runs the
Playboy.
bathroom.
And in case you were wondering / hoping that this would be a sexy type of video, it's not. Actually the opposite. If I would have to say, the images you're about to see are probably going to be disturbing for a lot of you. So,
oh my God,
discretion.
Did y'all hear, for the first time in history, a cis man is gracing the front of Playboy and may even have a spread therein. Yes. The bisexuality, or the bisexualification, the bisexification of the world is in due process. It's all part of the plan. It's what it's always been about. Everyone was worried about things like trans ideology, but no, it was gay ideology all along. Secretly behind the scenes, gay ideology has been running the show. Oh my!
Is advised. Now, I'm guessing that we're all familiar with what Playboy is. It's this pornographic model that started off, I mean, pretty early in the 60s or 70s, maybe even 50s actually. And they had centerfolds of busty young women, and it was the type of magazine that like teenage boys would hide under their beds and stuff like that. But I think they lost a lot of popularity when the internet came around, because, you know, if you want to look at porn, just simple fact of the matter is it's easier to get it online, and also they have video online, which
it's true.
Playboy can't really do. So yeah, things were not going great for Playboy in the digital age, and I think to just make matters
worse, there's not
worse,
only just an unbelievable amount of porn and accessible porn to everybody, but it's also just kind of like become part of people's days. Like, they just never stop watching it. I'm sure people are watching it while watching this or watching me or watching the news at the same time. People are just always watching pornos.
They also not too long ago announced that they would not be doing fully nude pictorials, which they were kind of best known for, instead choosing to focus on what I guess like lifestyle articles and stuff. Probably not the best move for a company whose whole thing was naked ladies. But anyway, now it seems like they are intent on just accelerating that downward spiral because they have recently chosen to feature a gay man as their newest Playboy playmate. Yeah,
Based.
beauty guru Bretman Rock was featured on their digital cover for October, and let's just say the reaction was probably not.
So at the start of this, wow, Lauren is more conservative sometimes than I think anyone really realizes, because she was like, if you think this is going to be like a sexy segment, you're wrong. In fact, it's probably going to be disgusting to most of you. It's like, why? Because he's gay?
What Playboy was hoping for. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, but first I want to say a big thank you to today's sponsor, Keto with Lauren. According to the CDC, around
Keto with Lauren. Sounds great. Yes. What are you promoting here? Oh, nice. Are you selling little packets of food? BioTrust, 100%. CB MCT oil powder. Nice. Yes, get your keto on. With the white supremacist.
Playboy on its official social media accounts posted these videos and this photo of influencer Bretman Rock in a kind of Playboy bunny lingerie.
Isn't that many folks watch that much porn?
That's a lot to take in. And in a following post, they also
Okay, that's a lot to take in. What, like, I don't. What is so upsetting to you? It's a beautiful human being on the cover of a magazine. It's just basically the end of the story. It's like, what? I can't even get my female nudity in the form that I need it. You just said at the start of this, like, whole segment that people don't even really read magazines anymore. They get all their porn online.
Of influencer Bretman Rock in a
So
kind of Playboy bunny lingerie piece.
And you know what's strange is it's confusing me because at the same time, the same parts of me that are supposed to be aroused by women are suddenly being aroused by other titillating features. I'm not sure how to process this information.
Yeah, that's a lot to take in, and in a following post, they also included a quote from Bretman. He said, "For Playboy to have a male on the cover is a huge deal for the LGBT community, for my brown people community, and it's all so surreal. A total is this even effing happening right now type of vibe, and I'm so pretty." So first thing I want to say here is that Andy No pointed this out online, but for decades, Playboy has featured
Yes, please tell me more about Andy No, the person who's in a ton of legal woes right now because of some. All right, we'll save that for another day.
On white models on their covers. It's pretty inclusive as far as ethnicities go. So I don't even know what he's trying to say with the whole brown people thing. It's like, no, Bretman, you are not the first brown people to be featured by Playboy. And going through.
That was something that you needed like someone else to look up and tell you about. Yeah, no shit. Representation canceled. Doesn't count. They've had brown people on before.
The replies to these Playboy posts, I don't think it's shocking to anybody that a lot of the replies, especially from men, were pretty negative. And in fact, the only real positive reply saying, yes, Bretman, slay queen, that I could see looked like they were coming from, frankly, straight females who probably are fans of Bretman because they follow him on social media or watch his YouTube channel or whatever it may be. And it's like, that's nice and everything.
I had no idea that Playboy features a trans woman in 1991.
They're supporting someone that they like, but the fact of the matter is that these people are not Playboy's consumer base, like, at all, and Playboy should have recognized that. And I get that it's trendy and in for brands to be inclusive and woke and LGBT friendly and all that stuff, but the thing is, Playboy, like, it's porn. It caters specifically to straight males.
This is what you're talking about, because this article says Playboy Mexico. Mexico puts first transgender model on the cover. Beauty influencer Victoria Volkova, 27, said she hopes her pictorial makes people more curious about what being trans means. Gotcha.
Males, and that's not the type of thing that you can just change and say, hey, you know what? Instead of a naked girl, here's a half-naked man. Just as good, right? Like, no, it's not just as good for the people.
You're talking about Caroline Cossey. Caroline Cossey is a British model who often worked under the name Tula, which was used for 2 memoirs. She appeared in 1981 James Bond film for Rose Island. Oh, yes, I know of this. Yes. Following her appearance in the film, she was outed as being trans by British tabloids. That's right. But she was the first trans woman to pose for Playboy in 1991. I don't know if it's the same if they had done it without being aware that she was trans at the time, though. Did they? Oh, I guess they would have, yeah, because that's in 1991, and the Bond film came out in 1981.
people who are interested in looking at the ladies, which, you know what, I'm not even trying to condone or promote on here. I am not a fan of Playboy, like even traditional. God, what is this world coming to? But, you know, like regular Playboy. But I mean, it's just totally lost the
Oh yes, traditional Playboy. I'm still not a fan of that one, but the new one, ew, gross, gay, gay, bad.
plot with this. And there was this really funny post I saw kind of giving crap to the people who
Cool.
weren't
Remind me to look at that
about
afterwards.
Bretman being featured, that I wanted to share with you all, because I think it's just, it is so naive
Nice,
and
Cygnus.
frankly tone deaf. This person says, homophobes in these comments need to examine their walk with God. The world is evolving, homophobes. Don't be scared. It doesn't affect you. Instead of spewing scaredy talk, just keep scrolling. Bretman is a kind person, something you all need to be. I don't think anybody is doubting that Bretman is or is not like a nice person. I'm sure he's fine. I think the question is, do these straight men want to see Bretman in lingerie, which the answer seems to be a resounding no. Also, regarding her comment about people not liking this cover, needing to check their walk with God, it's like, all right, well, we're talking about Playboy, so I think God has checked out of this conversation just
it's
a long
godless.
time ago.
Godless
and the idea
sin,
that it makes
sodomy,
straight men
filth.
homophobic to not want to look at a man in lingerie, it's just, no,
No, but it's just like, they don't have to look if they don't want to look. Don't buy the magazine. You have the option as a consumer. If that's something that interests you, that you do want to see a man in lingerie, then you buy it. And if you don't have to. It's wonderful, isn't it? The system that we've set up. It's not like everyone's like forcing you, like, look at this, look at this, look at the gay until it converts you.
that's not what homophobic
That is the goal, by the way.
means. By that definition, everyone who is not also a gay male is homophobic, which is outrageous and not how sexuality works. It is totally okay for men, straight men, to have a preference of wanting
In
to
this
see
straw man that I just invented. The straw man that I just made up. Yes, okay.
women instead of men. And I
retweeted
feel
that
like
squid. It's
people
awesome.
at Playboy should have known this was coming, and so why they chose to do this anyway, probably full well knowing that it would hurt their bottom line in favor of woke points. It's so strange. And actually, as someone else pointed out in the thread, did you forget you made Playgirl? You know, the magazine with men in it that mainly gay men bought? So apparently a while ago, it's not made anymore, but Playboy used to have a magazine called Playgirl, which they were originally intending to be directed toward women and it featuring naked men, but apparently women weren't really as interested in that, and it was mainly gay men who were buying the magazine, which like makes sense. I'm not saying that no women out there want to just look at naked men, but if you think of like the type of porn women want, I mean, there's a reason why 50 Shades of Grey is so popular, is because, I mean, it's not even visual, but it has a story and character.
50 Shades of Grey is fucking tripe. It's garbage. Even people who are like into kink and BDSM are like, yeah, no, it's absolute garbage. The whole thing started out as like fan fiction, I think. It was fan fiction. Oh, what's that vampire show? Now I'm totally drawing a blank. But yeah, it's hot garbage. Twilight. Thank you. Twilight. Yes, it was Twilight fan fiction that she transformed. So what would that have been? Would it have been like I got a job at this like, you know, really high-end company, and the boss, well, he's a vampire, you see, and he's teaching me about all the wonderful things in the world, like being domed and getting whipped and having his balls crushed on a regular basis. And this is Twilight 5.
Characters and like all this romance stuff behind it. It's like, that's what appeals to women, not just naked men by and large. And the reason why I bring that up is because human sexuality and human nature does not care about what your corporate agenda is. You can
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you're a woman and you're into vampire porn, or if you're a woman and you're into reading porn, or if you're a woman and you just like watching hardcore pornography on TV. That's just like, any of those things are totally fine. The thing is, you get to choose. Right now, what you're doing, Lauren, is you're passing judgment on those who would want to buy this product, and you're passing judgment on the company itself, Playboy, for doing this in the first place. As if, how could you? How could you soil your name that I'm also going to disparage, because at the end of the day, I don't agree with nudity or pornography or any of this kind of stuff, because I'm a good Christian and y'all are godless. Oh my God. By the way, I just noticed his tongue. What is this called again? A bleep? A blop? Oh no, Lauren, how could you do this? Moving you to, there we go. Look at that. That's so much tongue out. That's fucking hilarious. Dogs are silly. No idea that there's like 350 people watching him sleep with his tongue out. The bliss.
Try to make a magazine for women,
Folding
objectifying
ideas, the whole thing
men
about all
just
three
like
50
Playboy,
Shades
but that
movies.
doesn't
Ooh,
mean
I
it's
should
going to
watch
be
that.
as successful as Playboy because women don't want that. You can try to put a gay man on the cover of Playboy, but that doesn't mean that Playboy readers, i.e. straight men, are going to want that. When I was in college and I took some like super basic level marketing classes, they used to tell us that, you know, your goal
Animals
as a
are silly,
business
I
should be
agree.
giving the customer what they want. But it seems like in 2021, that message has changed to, as a business, you need to try to reshape what the customer wants in order to fit your worldview, which just sounds like.
So you started by saying that you think the Playboy numbers are like abysmal. Well, what most things do, especially old media, because at the end of the day, if you're selling a magazine, you're selling something that caters to a very specific demographic. There's not like a fuck ton of young kids who are just like, I can't wait to get my hands on the next Playboy. It's mostly like older gentlemen who still probably have nostalgia and enjoy a good fapping or two to, you know, a stagnant version of pornography, like one that is just like, I mean, in terms of like animation, they just want to stare to a still picture. So it makes sense that a private corporation like Playboy might be like, we need to try something new. We need to be more inclusive. We need to appeal to a larger audience. We need like, that's marketing 101, baby. If all of a sudden you've reached a point where you're losing business consistently, you're going to have to dramatically change. Otherwise you're just going to like die out.
Like a way worse way to make money. But anyway, in case you thought that this whole Bretman Rock cover was just a one-off for Playboy, you'd be wrong. It turns out they are simultaneously trying to sell those like little Playboy bunny outfits on their website, and instead of using a female model, which I guess you would assume would be the main demographic, like buying these little outfits, for some reason Playboy instead chose to feature a male model for these little lingerie sets. Oh, and actually, according to the
Who cares? Who fucking cares? Let them do what they want. I don't understand. Like, this is just old-timey fire and brimstone, gay bad shit.
Millennial is not just a male model. We can put some photos up here. Sorry, I hate to do that to you, but it's important that you see. But it's also a BLM activist because
I hate to do that to you. I'm sorry. I'm so very sorry. I had to show you the gay. It's to prove a point, okay? But now that you've seen it, you cannot unsee it. I've spread the gay against the Lord's wishes.
that's what's sexy, I guess. Maybe you guys will say that I'm just looking into things too much, but this whole thing to me really does just scream subversion. They really are not happy to let straight men just be straight men, to the point where they are now going into spaces and publications specifically dedicated to.
Won't someone think of the straights? I mean, it's been so very long that straight people have been ignored by society, marginalized, oppressed.
Straight men, and then like injecting gayness. And it's kind of ironic, or should I say hypocritical, because
I just can't hold the mask on anymore. Like, gay bad, okay?
usually the progressive left hates on the idea of male gaze and objectification. But it seems like that's only really the case when the bodies being objectified are those of young, attractive women. Because it seems like, you know, if there's a body positive activist, or if there's like some cross-dressing, non-binary trans person, then they are more than happy to be like, oh yeah, objectify all up in that. Kind of seems like their problem isn't really with objectification.
The problem with objectification is people who do it, let's just say non-consensually. Someone doesn't want to be objectified. Say a woman in the workplace and all of a sudden there's a bunch of guys who are like, oh, nice honkers, something like that. Yeah, you're objectifying someone who's just like, this is just making me feel really awkward. If someone is doing a sexy photo shoot and they clearly want to be objectified by doing so, but they also want to be appreciated for their aesthetics, their beauty, whatever, it's fine. That's completely fine. No one's got a problem with that. Doesn't matter if they're a cis woman, doesn't matter if they're a trans woman, doesn't matter if they're a trans man. Like none of that changes anything.
It's with jealousy and the fact that they
like
don't
Jimmy
feel good enough in comparison to the type of girls and models that Playboy usually features, which is understandable. I mean, as a woman, I definitely understand feeling physically insecure about yourself, but I mean, that doesn't mean you just in response try to subvert society to make yourself feel better. Yeah, and as the Post-Millennial also reported, Playboy isn't even the only institution doing this type of stuff. They write, Playboy is only the latest—
Is she like crying right now? Like, are you so hurt by this prospect? How could this happen? Society is falling apart. What about the straights?
Playboy is only the latest women's wear company to feature male models in
Subversion.
women's clothes.
Nice.
Pop star Rihanna's Savage X Fenty line routinely showcases trans models in women's lingerie. Victoria's Secret also
Cool.
took the plunge, adding
Who
Brazilian
cares?
model Valentina Sampaio to their lineup. Sampaio was also a cover model for the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. Victoria's Secret had come under fire for not promoting trans-identified, queer, and plus-size models as part of their ad campaigns, but the company traded in that exec for wokeness and has since become a champion of non-traditional lingerie models. I definitely don't want to come across here as saying that if you're not a blonde bombshell, Marilyn Monroe looking type of model that you do not belong in the media because no one wants to look at you and just get out. No, like, of course not.
No,
and,
no,
I think
it's only if you're gay or trans. That's what she cares about. Yeah, I mean, she's like, I'm not trying to pass judgment on how you look. I just don't want you to be gay or trans.
Period in the early 2000s where the desire for just like perfectness, especially combined with like Photoshop, it went over the edge and we started being presented with just unrealistic expectations of how people are supposed to look. But I mean, on the flip side here, it seems like there's an active agenda being pushed through to almost subvert the idea of traditional beauty and traditional femininity in favor of, I mean, well, what Playboy has given us. And even though I'm sure there are a lot of woke activists on Twitter, specifically women who are going to be—
This seems like it's such a hard thing for Lauren to have done. She's got to like really juggle her audience here. I can't endorse the traditional ways that Playboy was before because, again, porn equal bad, and we're pro-Christian conservatives who are against pornography, even though, you know, statistically Christian conservatives consume a fuck ton of porn. Well, at the same time, I want to be able to use this as leverage of the difference between we're losing tradition, right? Like, the times have changed, and of course we fear change because we're conservatives. So the new Playboy bad, old Playboy not good, but also better. Kind of hard to do, the subversion. Oh man, makes you want to buy a Playboy now, you know?
Hey, do you like movies? Do you like Serfs? Do you want movies and Serfs watching the movies? So then come over to the new channels. It's the Serfs cinema. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Can you do the thing, you know, that thumbs up and comment and all those things that help us out in the algorithm that controls every aspect of our lives? Also, if you happen to have a Facebook account, can you delete it? Like just delete it. You should probably delete your Facebook account because it's not a great company. But hey, if you can't do that for whatever reason, I understand. And could you also go to facebook.com/thesurftimes then and give us a little like and a follow. We're just trying to push back against the fact that people like Ben Shapiro happen to dominate the platform entirely. And when everyone asks why do older generations believe the things they believe, one of the problems is the majority of them on social media use Facebook. So to counter that, we're just going to be on there too now. Also, if you happen to have a union or a worker co-op or even a leftist project, podcast, website, Zoom, MySpace, it doesn't matter. We will advertise it for free on this channel. All you got to do is go to weareserfs.com and use the forms that we got there, weareserfs.com. Thanks, everybody.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, may you shower us mortals with gifts from the heaven. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are your humble jesters, clowning around for your amusement. To our lord, Trevor R. and Alexander Thaler, we give you our thanks for this meager land for us to toil our seed. To our knights of the round table, Egbard Sealine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariana McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Ants are still running the world, Coulter Smith, Tom Groh, Val 9000, Jenna Tal, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multimondi, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojak, Saren 42, Chronic de Hemphog, Catherine, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Josh Mickelson, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our glasses and we salute you, our comrades.